Hi, I'm Ben from Witterings Fitness, and today we're going to be covering our core movements, and we're starting with the squat and the deadlift. This is Sam. He's our sports therapist here at Witterings Fitness, and he is going to be my demo for the squat. So the reason we're going to teach the squat first is because it translates into lots of other movements. So once you understand how to squat, first of all, you can use it as a movement diagnostic for yourself. So if you can't squat one day for whatever reason, like your hips feeling stiff, then we can figure out what you need to do to release the hip, for example. The other thing is it's just a natural human movement that everybody should know, and it translates into lots of other movements around the squat. Happy with that? Cool, right, so we're going to assume that he's already done his warm-up. We're going to start with like 5 minutes, go on a bike, ski, or just go for a little jog, just to get blood flowing around the body. You can do a few just body weight squats as you are to start with. If you've never ever done a squat before, that's fine. Make sure you have some sort of assistance. You can have a box or a chair to sit down onto. So if you just do a few squats down onto the chair. And the main thing is here that he's keeping his feet flat on the floor. We'll talk a bit more about the actual technique involved in this in a minute, but he's just having a feel now to see, you know, what his hips feel like and what his legs feel like. You'll get to know what that feels like more when you've done it a bit. Can you feel anything untoward going on in there?
No,
feel any stiff? Okay, cool. So that's your warm-up and your kind of diagnosis done. If you're really struggling to just sit on a chair or a box, what you can do is you can come and grab some rings. So if you grab those rings there, and you can use some rings as a bit of assistance. So he's just supporting his upper body a little bit there with the rings, okay? If you need to use a rope, if you're at home and you need to use a rope or something, then you can use a rope instead, same sort of thing, okay? After he's done his warm-up, we're gonna go into some mobility exercises. So we're gonna start with some foam rolling. Have you got your foam rollers? And we're gonna start with the calves. So when you're foam rolling your calves, you want to go up and down, but also across. Okay, so we're going across the muscle as well, and we're just looking for any stiff bits. How does that feel? Is that all right? Yeah. And if you need a little bit more weight, you can push your other leg on top, like so. So you can lift up, and you're just you're feeling for sore bits, and you're going up and down the muscle. You see a lot of people foam rolling up and down like that, but we want to give it a little bit of a scrub as well, so you can even wriggle it side to side. And the reason we're doing this is it's basically giving yourself a massage. So you're smoothing out the muscles and you're just reducing any adhesions that are in the tissue of the muscle so it can slide better. This will affect your ankle mobility quite a lot. So the bending of your ankle will depend on how stiff that calf is. So if you're really stiff in the ankles, one of the things you can do is just foam roll in your calves. Once you've done your calves, spend about a minute or so there, move on to your quads. So you're going onto your front, and we're going to foam roll in the quads. And again, same sort of thing, we're going to be rolling left and right, as well as just up and down, okay? So we're not just going up and down, up and down. So, and you can go all the way up until your pocket, okay? So you can actually roll right up into the pocket, into the side of the hip, as you can see here. So he's going up into the pocket, and it might be quite sharp, trying to lift his hips over to the side a little bit. And that is your TFL, and that can affect that knee position, okay? So that's the main foam rolling bits that you're gonna do for the squat, just as a generic thing. There's loads more you can do, but if you've got specific problems, then you can let us know, and then we can get back to you as to what exactly you should be doing. After you've done your foam rolling, we're gonna lose this. We're going to come in to just do some hip openers. So you can actually use this as a little bit of a support. So you're doing your quad stretch. So you should be feeling it down his quad, squeezing his bum. Think about tipping your hips under and your belly button in rather than arching out to the side. So if you arch out too much, you're going to get that pain in your lower back. So think about tucking those hips right under, squeezing your bum. A couple of seconds here. You can do a contract relax. So you can take a deep breath in. Hold, squeeze your bum, tuck under your hips for 6 seconds, hold, and then relax and just dip into it, so a bit further. So you're contracting and you're relaxing, and that's just a technique to help you get a bit deeper into that lunge stretch. After you've done 3 rounds of that, you're going to put your hands down next to your foot, like so, That's it. So have your hands in line with the foot here. So you don't want your knee on the inside like he's got here. You actually want your knee outside. That's it. And then bring your hands back a little bit further so you're actually in line here. That's it. You can push that knee further back. All right. And then he's pushing his knee out to the side. And if you think about what that position is, it's actually half of a full squat. So we're literally mobilizing the hip into where it needs to be. He's also looking at his ankle mobility, so he's making sure he's got good ankle range in there, and then making sure that knee is out to the side. That's quite important, and we'll explain why in a minute. So just going to roll forward and back there. You okay? Can you feel that? Yeah? Okay, and if you're really struggling to get down into here, again, you can use your roller. Because you might be super stiff and you can't quite get down, so you just need to ease down with your chest like that and open up the hip that way. And as long as you've got no pain, like sharp pains, then you're all good to go and move into that. Okay, before you move on to the other side, if you come back into that position, do you want to shuffle forward a bit? Your knees on the wood. Okay, so he's going to bring that foot across and lock it in above his knee. Okay, this is kind of a difficult one to get. Make sure you've got all fours on the ground, so knees on the ground. That's it. And then he's going to arch his back a little bit and then stick his bum out away from me, so towards the knee that's bent across. And you should feel that in the side of your bum. So that's your glutes there. And you just, if that's your hip bone there, you're just trying to roll the bone joint around and feel for tight areas basically. And you can roll forward and back. So put your weight through that knee and roll forward and back. Make sure you keep your arch in your back. If you tuck your hips under, it's not going to really work very well. And just go forward and back, just roll around in the hip joint. That's nice, and it's really nice. Can you feel that? Yeah. Yeah? Feel it in the glute. So a lot of people have never really done this one before. Might have done pigeon if you've done yoga, like the pigeon, like where you bring your leg right up here. It's not quite the same as that. It's more out and pushing out to the side. Variations of this are, you don't have to, if you can't bring your leg right up in here, you can just put your leg behind your leg. Your foot behind your leg behind your leg. So put your foot up here like that, and then bring that knee out to the side, and then you can sit over to the side like that as well. So it's a little bit less range of motion. You can still get into that position, okay? And then if you're really struggling with that one still, then you can use a box, and we can get you up onto the box like so, and then just bring that knee up here and then sit down there. So knee up onto the box, and he's just sitting his hips down into the stretch. Okay, that's all for the mobility stuff. Next, we're going to go on to muscle activation. So we're thinking about what muscles we're using for the squat. We're using our glutes and we're using our core. So we need to go and get some bands. Okay, right, we've got our bands. These are mini bands. We sell these on the Witterings Fitness website if you need to get yourself a set. Really handy, really good for rehab. And the first thing we're going to do is activate our glutes. One of the easiest ways to do this is if you wrap the band around the middle of your shins. The blue band is a little harder than the green band, so I'm going to get him to do all the work. Okay? And you're going to do what we call a mini band walk. So you're literally just going to push out and then control it in and press out. Okay, so you're kind of doing a mini band walk or a monster walk. That's it. And it's important to load up. So if you control that foot in and then out, load up this foot and then control it in and then out, rather than just kind of taking steps. And then once you get 10 steps forward, then you can do 10 steps back. So if you come back, Sam, that's it. Like so. Making sure that foot stays stable on the ground. Okay. So you should be able to feel that working in his glutes a little bit, yeah? Cool. The slower you do it, it's actually the harder, so the more muscle activation you're gonna get. Once you've done forward and back, if you turn to the side, and then you're gonna do the same thing, pressing out to the side and then control it in. So pressing out and then controlling in. And you can do steps like this as well, if you want. So step out, and then, yeah. Or you can step and then control it in, step and control it in. That's it, that's fine. So you can do another 10 steps out left and right. So that's going to get his glutes really, really fired up. So it's good for the squat and for the deadlift later. Happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the next one you're going to do, you still need the mini band. You're going to wrap around your toes like that. So around your foot. bring your knees up to the chest and then straighten out one leg. Okay, you can put your hands around your head if you need to. This is a really hard position to do. You all right, Sam? He's shaking. Okay, so you've got hip activation and core activation. Both of these are important for the squat, and you're gonna rotate. And if you can, try and get 20 of these. Okay, they're tough, all right? And you should be flattening that lower back into the ground, making sure you don't end up with an arch in here, because that's gonna be that overextended position which we want to avoid as much as possible. Okay, and once you've done that, you should be pretty much ready to squat, okay? So your squat already will feel a lot different just from doing those activations and the stretching. So before you've even learned much of the technique, you can retest your squat, Sam. So if you go for another squat, and you should feel actually it's a little bit more stable because the muscles, and loose because the muscles, yeah. And that's just because you've loosened up the muscles and the joints, and you've activated the muscles you're about to use. So thanks for watching. Next video, we'll talk a bit more about the technique involved in the actual back squat.